your Storm Team 6 forecast from RTV6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory.
We've stared at the thermometer the last couple of days, enjoying below average temperatures, highs in the 70s, 2 days in a row, but not today. We made it to 81. Now we'll change our focus, start staring at Storm Team 6 radar. Thunderstorms back into the picture Wednesday and Thursday. Then we'll be dry Friday and most of Saturday before a chance for thunderstorms returns on Sunday. No rain this evening or tonight. It should be after midnight before we'd see any showers or thunder showers, and that in western Indiana. 7 a.m. tomorrow turns active early. A couple of thunderstorms right around Terre Haute. These will move to the north and east. Then from Indy north to Kokomo, showers, thunderstorms at 10 a.m. Another thunderstorm into Terre Haute. Becomes a little more widespread in the early afternoon. Pockets of heavy rain, certainly with some of these thunderstorms. We'll see scattered thunderstorms through the afternoon into the evening. As far as rainfall potential, now this will include another wave of rain tomorrow night into the morning hours on Thursday. Some spots well over an inch north, and if you get multiple thunderstorms, the potential is there for over 2 inches of rain. 79, that's our current temperature, down 2 degrees from our afternoon high. Wind is out of the south 10 to 15 miles per hour. Temperatures will be slower to drop now that we have the cloud cover around. We also have a south wind that will keep temperatures propped up. Low 80s down along the Ohio River. Temperature in central Indiana just shy of the 80-degree mark. This is a sign of the change that will bring more humidity and increasing chance for thunderstorms and get those temperatures back into the mid-80s, if not a little warmer. At the bus stop tomorrow morning, the chance for a shower or thunderstorm is there, but it will be isolated. Much better chance when the kids get home from school. There'll be thunderstorms around. Slight risk, or I should say marginal risk, low risk for any severe storms tomorrow. Gusty winds and hail would be the main threats. Temperatures mid-80s tomorrow. They'll peak on Thursday, middle to possibly upper 80s if we have enough time between thunderstorms. Less humid and cooler on Friday, but that won't last all that long. As we get to the weekend, more thunderstorms and warmer temperatures come back. 11 o'clock tomorrow night, I'll stop this at 1 a.m. There are the showers and thunderstorms entering the northern third of the state, say Lafayette to Muncie north. Potential for a round of heavier rain there. That will move off to the east and let us dry out on Friday. Temperatures Friday 82 for the afternoon high. As I mentioned, we're back into the mid-80s on Saturday. Sunday high temperature in the upper 80s with a 30% chance for thunderstorms. We'll hold on to that daily chance for thunderstorms Monday and Tuesday as well.
Good deal.
At 6:16, let's get over to Todd Clausen.
And Beth, beautiful stretch of weather starting Sunday, going through yesterday with low humidity and lots of sunshine. Well, things are going to start to change today. The humidity is back. Not so much this morning. You won't really notice it as you walk out the door, but it'll build in throughout the course of the day today as the temperature's warm as well. And the storms, they'll start to arrive throughout the day today, and there could be a spot strong to severe storm this afternoon, with wind being the main threat. So as you walk out the door this morning, Storm Team 6 radar, pretty quiet. There's a few isolated sprinkles well up to our north. You notice a few near Hartford City as well. They will not impact your morning commute, and most of your commute is going to be dry. The best chance of that spot sprinkle will be north of Indianapolis, but we all have the clouds around throughout the morning hours, so you don't have to work on a lot of sunshine here throughout the course of the morning. As far as grabbing the sunglasses, you probably won't need them a whole lot. As far as what's off to our west, you notice quite a bit of storm activity. This is all going to kind of converge on the state throughout the course of the day. So as we get into the middle half of the morning and the noon hour, that's when we're expecting the showers and storms to start to build in throughout the course of that time frame. And then as we head into the early afternoon hours, we're still dodging showers and storms. So have the umbrella ready throughout the course of the day today. And as far as the severe storms go, I think it's probably later in the afternoon and evening hours that we have the chance of maybe an isolated severe thunderstorm warning here or there. It's not going to be widespread throughout the day today, and that is the good news. And it's going to kind of be dependent on how much rainfall we see around that noon hour. The more rain we see around the noon hour, probably the less likely that we get into some stronger storms later on this afternoon. 70 degrees, that's the current temperature for you. Just a light wind out of the southeast at 5 miles per hour. Again, dew points at 63. That's not a bad number for us, but it will be going up throughout the course of the day today. So about 74 by the 10 a.m. hour, 78 by the noon hour. Still dealing with mostly cloudy skies. Then we bring in the storms throughout the afternoon hours with our high temperature topping off at 80. 86 degrees. But when you factor in the humidity, again, which will be climbing throughout the day today, it's going to feel anywhere from about 88 to 93 degrees. So it will start to get rather uncomfortable. If you're thinking about a morning workout, that's probably better than later on this afternoon because the humidity and the temperatures are lower here currently right now. So as we look forward throughout the next 3 days, tomorrow scattered storms are in the forecast as a cold front goes through, but the timing is pretty good because that'll be out of here by Friday and Saturday as we bring the sunshine back into the forecast. So if you have weekend plans, at this point it looks dry for most of the weekend. We bring some spotty storms back in on Sunday, but it will be very summer-like as temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s. The humidity will be up. And then even into next week, temperatures, Lauren, they will stay above normal.
Take a look at this view. Now, this is looking west with our Weather Now camera, and you're going to see improvement there. I see a little bright spot, don't you? In the upper right-hand corner of the picture, that would be where the rain is starting to let up as you get towards Speedway, Claremont, back out toward Ben Davis and Wayne Township. A no big football game between Ben Davis and Avon. Our day first out in Brownsburg, where they'll be waiting to start a game there. If we've got another, we can check the Speedway camera looking toward downtown. We'll check that out and see what that looks like, the view. And you can see much improved in the Speedway area. The heaviest rain is still shrouding the downtown metro area, but it looks tropically lush, doesn't it, across from the view from the Pagoda camera. Let's go to our weather camera. This is our live drive vehicle. Well, we'll get to that in a second. This is 465. The north split, so I-70, the banner's covering that up. Improving there, I think what's going to happen is going to be along 465 from I-69 to I-70 to I-74 in the eastern portion of the county that will have the biggest impact, at least from the falling rain. Now remember, once the rain stops, it doesn't mean the rain or the water won't continue to rise for a period. So those of you with street flooding, overflowing because of storm drains where the water is actually coming back up through that will continue for a bit as this slowly starts to leave Marion County and Jason push into Hancock, eventually southeastern Hamilton and Putnam counties or Madison County. We'll be back, keep you updated on this.
A quick note, the Indians have postponed tonight's game, setting up a doubleheader on September 1st. Meanwhile, Klipsch, Hank Williams Jr., Chris Stapleton tonight, they are operating on a delay out in Noblesville there. A live look right now from our Bloomington camera, our Weather Now camera network out there. Visibility not bad down there. It has been a different story downtown. Rafael.
We are live in downtown Indianapolis. In my 18 years of covering all kinds of weather, I have never seen anything like this before. I had to take off my shoes. I want to walk with me. This is Pennsylvania Street in downtown Indianapolis. The water, as you can see, already covering me. I don't know if I can stretch the cables. A number of cars already parked here are underwater. It is very difficult at this rush hour period where these cars are trying to get home during rush hour. As you can see, Pennsylvania Street, where this is where the road is. I've left the sidewalk and people are just trying to get home this evening. This is downtown Indianapolis right now, and as you go through much of the downtown area near I-65 off the I-70 ramp, the streets are underwater. 13th Street, 12th Street, 11th Street in this condition. For many of these people, it is slow going this afternoon. We have never ever seen anything like this. I've seen snow this high, even higher in flood zones, but nothing like this in downtown Indianapolis. Kevin and crew, check out this car. This vehicle has been parked here for some time now. The water now up to the wheel. We're going to have some flood damage, not only to possibly basements, but also to vehicles as water begins to seep in. I'm also going to imagine that we're going to have some water rescues. We often tell people when the water gets as high to turn around. These folks have no place to turn. Now, we're nearby the Damien Center, so as you can see, this vehicle trying to get to higher ground, but many folks are just stuck. They can't move anywhere because of the high water. Again, I have never in my 18 years working in downtown Indianapolis ever seen this kind of flooding. It is around the downtown area. This is not some rural street. This is not somewhere out in the country. This is in the city. And Kevin, as you mentioned, the downpour was so heavy that the city drains could not keep up with the amount of water. As you can see, people just trying to get home. Good afternoon, good evening. Please be safe. Just a lot of water, and no amount of city sewer system could obviously contain this water and deal with this water with the amount of water. Again, we are on Pennsylvania Street in downtown Indianapolis. We are in the middle right now of rush hour traffic. This, believe it or not, is not a creek. This is not a lake. This is Pennsylvania Street. People are trying to get southbound. We can see from our vantage point that the interstate traffic is moving well there on I-65 heading towards MLK and 38th Street. But these folks are just trying to get home tonight, and it's going to be slow going, Kevin and Jason. I have never, again, seen so much water on a downtown street in my 18 years of covering weather. We've covered it all, but nothing like this. Kevin, Jason?
Rafael, we're going to buy you a new pair of socks. Get rid of those ASAP. Let's take a live look now. Higher ground, I-65, 21st right there. You can see slow going on the interstates as well right now. If you don't have anywhere to go, don't for now. Let's get you live to Mike Pelton with an update on what he is seeing on his street side. Mike.
Yeah, well, Jason, unlike Rafael, I've actually got boots on here, and you can see how deep the water is. This is coming up more than a foot on my leg, and you can see some of these vehicles here on Illinois near 26th Street are going through the water, and you can get a feel for just how deep that water is. Now, obviously, authorities would recommend that you not drive through water this deep. I can tell you we've already seen one car and a driver. That gentleman is currently down 26th Street. Three of us actually had to push his car down 26th Street. His car became disabled when he tried to drive through this water that obviously was just too deep. As you're taking this live look here, you can see some of these cars and drivers smartly backing up and turning around. Now, obviously, the issues you have here on Illinois Street are it's a one-way street, so now you've got people going the wrong way and people trying to figure out exactly how to avoid this water. So we've seen a little bit of a traffic jam, people trying to mix and match and turn around and get out of here as best they can. One woman who was driving northbound just asked me if she was going to make it through the water again. Officials will always recommend that you not risk it and that you don't try to drive through water this deep. You can see a lot of cars smartly turning around here on Illinois Street. But just to give you one more look here, Jason, I mean, just look at how deep this is. I'm not even in the center of the road, and you can get a feel for how deep this water is. It's coming up at least a foot here on my leg. Now, if there is one silver lining, the rain seems to be tapering off a little bit. I know Kevin talked about that at one point about half an hour ago. The rain was coming down so fast you could almost not see right in front of you, and that's why a lot of drivers were getting, let's call it, surprised by how deep this water was. They really didn't know what was ahead of them. Obviously, you want to turn around again just to emphasize that, but this is absolutely ridiculous out here. This is causing a lot of problem for drivers. Of course, we're going to try and chat with some of them, and we will check back with you here in just a little bit. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Mike. A quick heads up, College and Delaware right now, traffic is moving there if you are looking to get into or out of downtown. Meridian, though, once again, a big mess. We'll get you to a quick break here on the news at 7 and check back in with Kevin Gregory after this. Welcome back to the news at 6. I don't know if you can hear it from my microphone here on the set, but some intense claps of thunder just outside of our studio right now. A live look at the radar there. Look at all of those lightning strikes. No rest for the weary in the metro area. Rain continues to fall. A second major storm cutting through Indianapolis in the past 24 hours. Let's go live to Paris Lubell, who's live on FaceTime on the north side. Paris, what are you seeing there?
Jason, we're here at on Illinois Street, just about a block south of 46th Street. This is Blue Ridge Road. I'm going to turn the camera around. You can take a look here. The road's starting to completely flood over. Just the amount of rain here that's come over the last just 20 minutes or so since I've been driving back towards the station. And you can see a lot of people going over the center line there, so they try and stay out of the heaviest part of this water. But just a ton of water coming here. This is the sidewalk here along the road. You can see it's just completely underwater at this point, and here off onto the edge of the side of the street, you can see just the water rushing down Illinois Street here again towards 46. So just a lot of water. Again, if you're driving through this area, there are a lot of areas that are flooded over right now. Make sure you're stopping and driving around it. Make sure you don't go through any roads that will flood. I'll send it back to you, Jason.
Thank you, Paris. Another round of rough weather getting in the way for everyone still cleaning up from what they've been dealing with this morning.
I would say he's not even in the heaviest portion of the rain. Let me show you the radar.
Right here.
Downtown, certainly Monument Circle, we're at 1330 North Meridian. Follow the lightning and look at the intensity of that. Of course, lightning makes every storm deadly and dangerous. In other words, once you hear thunder, see lightning, you should be indoors. The flash flood warning goes all the way up to Fishers and Geist, just southeast of Carmel, through the metro area back through Mooresville to nearly Martinsville. Rainfall rates well over an inch per hour. There have been spots that have seen 2 inches of rain already. This is a view, obviously, in the downtown metro area of our live drive, and not only
visibility down to about a block there.
Yeah, so they're not just stopped by the red light. They're going to be stopped by some flooded intersections as well. This is 22nd in Illinois, and basically anywhere from Meridian or Illinois as you continue north to the Hamilton County line, those are spots that saw heavy rain during the morning hours this morning. So as they tiptoe their way to the north, let's go back to radar for 1 second here. We've not had damaging wind reports with this. It's been primarily just intense lightning and rainfall. That's what it looks like all the way back into Martinsville. We'll drift to the north and east. We'll continue to follow that this evening, but eventually what kind of happens, it just kind of rains itself out, but not before you see 2 to maybe 3 inches of rain.
I've been out here with you for hours now. You and Kyle have been on the air since about 3 o'clock, before 3 o'clock this afternoon. And if we can rewind back before all of these tornadoes sprung up across central Indiana, what had built up weather-wise several hours ago to really spawn all of this?
Not a lot. In other words, was it a day where there was a watch out in already? Was it a day that we thought severe weather would impact central Indiana? We had a slight risk for severe storms, with the main threat being damaging wind. But as we've seen so many times, isolated thunderstorms can have the potential to produce tornadoes under certain circumstances. So those circumstances where we have what we'd call enough wind shear or change in wind direction with height to get these storms rotating certainly developed. So we had these tornadoes from multiple storms, but again, a widespread severe weather event? No. A tornado, if you want to call it outbreak in a sense, yes, because there are going to be multiple tornadoes from a few different supercell storms. And so just kind of developed, and I think sometimes we look at the atmosphere and you look at a large area, but when you start looking at a micro environment and what can happen, that's where these thunderstorms, severe storms, and tornadoes can develop in what otherwise would not be a large-scale conducive environment for tornadoes, if that makes any sense. And so one thing I've learned to do is never say never. In other words, severe storms can and do produce tornadoes. There are times that you would say, okay, you can check every box that it should produce a tornado, and it doesn't. And then there are times you can check 1 box out of 4 or 5, and it does produce a tornado. We're not all knowing about this. I think we've got a new warning here, and is it a continuation to the east, Kyle?
No, this is a new warning back to the west. We were looking at that rotation around Tipton, and now we have a tornado warning until 8:45 for northeastern Tipton County and northwestern Madison County. So this is radar-indicated rotation once again near Windfall City. That would be 10 miles southeast of Kokomo and moving to the east at 20 miles per hour. So this is radar-indicated tornado count.
Okay, so I've outlined that for you. Just northeast of Tipton to Windfall, then to Duck Creek and Elwood as it cuts west of 37, then into Madison County. Here comes Governor Pence. Let's listen to his briefing on today's tornadoes.
Well, thank you all for being with us. It's been a rough afternoon and a rough evening for communities across Indiana. But Hoosiers are breathing a sigh of relief. But there's a lot of hurting families across this state. I just received a briefing in our emergency operations center about the efforts of various state agencies to come alongside counties and communities that have been impacted by these unexpected storms, and I'll give you a brief update on what we know at this point. The most important thing to say is this is an active situation. We expect the storms to leave the state of Indiana within the hour, but we are continually monitoring the progress of these storms and the needs of local communities and first responders. I'm grateful to be joined by my Lieutenant Governor, Eric Holcomb, as well as by David Kane, who's the Executive Director of the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. This afternoon at roughly 2:40 p.m., warnings began for severe weather traversing the state from west to east. We stood up the Emergency Operations Center at that time and brought in all of our personnel representing a broad range of state agencies. 27 counties reported tornado warnings today. We have 8 confirmed tornadoes in the state of Indiana, at least 3 that touched down on the ground. The most severe damage that we are aware of at this time was in Howard County and in Montgomery County. In Howard County, there are approximately 15 homes that have been damaged, as well as some local businesses. In Montgomery County, we just learned that there's some 30 homes that have been damaged in varying degrees. At this point, I say with a grateful heart that we have no reports of serious injuries or deaths as a result of these storms. We are currently monitoring roughly 10 to 15 minor injuries in Howard County, and we're in the assessment process in Montgomery County. Again, at this point, that's the best information that we have. First responders on the ground are obviously going house to house and making sure that we move through the response phase effectively. And if there are people who are injured, hurting, that we will find them and get them the medical attention that they need. We're dealing at this point now with power outages. We're moving some resources, particularly into Howard County, to provide some flood lighting around some key areas of the community.
Now, breaking news from RTV6.
Right now at 11, severe weather ravages Indiana as what seemed like an endless string of tornadoes touched down for roughly 6 hours all across the state. The images still rolling into our newsroom right now, like this one, a tornado bearing down there in Kokomo. Look closely at this one, another in that area, powerful enough to send that debris flying hundreds of feet into the air. Now tonight, hundreds have been forced out of their homes, tens of thousands still without power. Homes damaged and destroyed in Kokomo and Howard County, more wiped away in Montgomery County. But amazingly, the governor reports only 15 people were injured, none of them severely. Good evening, everyone. Our crews have been hard at work working for you, out tracking those tornadoes all day long, checking out the damage and speaking to Hoosier families whose lives essentially been upended. We've got team coverage tonight. RTV6's Rafael Sanchez leads our coverage from Kokomo in front of the Starbucks there flattened during the storm. Rafael.
The Starbucks, as you can see behind me, was simply toppled, Jason. Terrifying images that you just showed. Right now, it's all about recovery on a day that the people in this area saw almost everything that Mother Nature could throw at them. Tornadoes, funnel clouds, downpours, strong winds, anything and everything they saw today. Let me show you right now what we saw and what the National Weather Service says caused a lot of the damage here in Kokomo and Howard County. The National Weather Service says that an EF3 tornado ripped through Howard County today, causing extensive damage. And speaking with Mayor Greg Goodnight tonight, he tells me that he believes that possibly 300 to 500 people could be displaced. We should also point out that right now there are no schools tomorrow in this area, as well as you're seeing now from this damage. We're being told that the state of emergency was just lifted about 30 minutes ago. But take a look at all of that damage caused here. The recovery will take several days, possibly even several weeks. RTV6 is working for you to put this storm in perspective. We have live team coverage. We begin with Liz Ariola, who arrived here in Kokomo a couple of hours ago, and she is with the survivors of the storm that happened today. Liz, what's going on?
Yeah, Rafael, I'm right near the underbelly of an RV that was pushed on its side by those high winds. According to the National Weather Service, the wind speeds reached up to 136 miles per hour, causing several collapses. Several structures collapsed in the area, garages, homes, even a Starbucks. We reached out to a man who captured video footage of a Starbucks that collapsed. He was inside a restaurant right across from that Starbucks, and he was able to capture that footage as the building went down. He said it all happened within 8 minutes. He was on top of the restaurant trying to fix the roof when he got the alert from the National Weather Service that the storm was headed his way. He ran for cover inside that restaurant. That's when he pulled out his cell phone and captured that Starbucks coming down. He explained to us what he saw, how he felt as that building crashed to the ground.
I saw the roof. It just peeled off the building, and then shortly, almost instantaneously, the building collapsed And immediately my heart sunk. I knew there were people in that building, and I instantly felt for them. I was just like, I was expecting the worst. I was able to knock holes into the wall so I could communicate with them. I used a brick and just bashed holes, let them know that, they were all right, the storm was gone, let them know the building had collapsed, that they were fine, we were going to get them out. And being at work, I had my tools in my pocket, so I was able to get the pins out of the door hinges. We were able to get them out that way, and I used my drill to take the door hanger off, and then we were able to take and throw the doors to the side and help people slowly and carefully get out of there.
And I spoke to a spokesperson from the National Weather Service who says a confirmed F3 tornado passed near the back end of that Starbucks. The winds from that tornado went through the doors, went through the windows, ripping the roof right off that building. Luckily, the workers inside that Starbucks were able to huddle inside the bathroom for safety until help arrived to help break them out of that bathroom and help them get to safety. But some very, very scary moments out here in Kokomo as people brace for that tornado. Like I said before, the winds up to 136 miles per hour. People just bracing for the worst, but happy that there were no serious injuries out here in Kokomo. Raphael?
Liz, thank you so much. So many scary moments, but we're also seeing so many story of survivals also emerge. Let me show you what is left of that Starbucks here in Kokomo. This is video from Skycam 6 in HD. This is one of the first images to emerge to the world and to the nation. This image of the Starbucks, which was toppled when those winds blew through. You heard just a few moments ago some sirens as I was talking. This remains a very active and developing situation because of all the outages out here. There are many state police that are watching many of the properties around here, including the Starbucks, which is now being protected by yellow tape. Our Paris LaBelle is now focused on public safety, which is really right now priority number one with so many power outages here in Kokomo. He continues our team coverage right now at 11. Paris?
Raphael, a lot of people still out, a lot of help coming from law enforcement and first responders. Right behind me, this is the Howard County Emergency Management makeshift area right now that they're using as a command post. This is where police officers and firefighters are going to get more water or get more supplies and even just take a break from dealing with the community and looking through homes and things like that. Now, as soon as there was word of tornadoes on the ground, the county did call back off-duty officers and firefighters to come back to work and start helping out the community. Firefighters went through the worst of the damage and started searching for people that were hurt. And if they didn't find anyone inside, that red X that you can see on the front of the home was spray painted. That again meant that nobody was inside the house. Now, police said in the first moments of the tornado outbreaks, they did get overloaded with 911 calls, but they were able to handle it.
So as soon as the tornadoes come through, we quickly generate calls for service.
During the initial report of this weather as it started coming in, we did fall behind, so to speak, but we have a system where we call all those people back, and that has all been accomplished. Everybody that called in got a call back.
Now, a big concern for police tonight is that of looting. They're keeping a lot of these neighborhoods secure tonight. So if you are a resident, be prepared to show ID when you do go back into your area. Again, they are keeping it secure because they don't want any looting. They're telling any criminals to stay out tonight, and hopefully everything stays safe. Raphael, we'll send it back over to you.
Paris, thank you so much. Police presence you can see it everywhere here in Kokomo. The governor was on the campaign trail. As you know, he's running as a vice presidential nominee with Donald Trump. He was out of town when the storms hit, but then he came back home. Our State House reporter, Katie Hines, caught up with the governor at the State House Emergency Operations Center. Katie?
State leaders and Department of Homeland Security officials briefed Governor Pence on Indiana's response to the storms here at the Emergency Operations Center. Pence learned that assistance includes more than 24 Indiana state troopers on the ground and DNR teams helping families. INDOT employees are clearing roadways and providing floodlights.
It is truly remarkable that there are such a few number of injuries or worse in the wake of this storm, given the fact that it literally struck Howard County virtually at shift change in the afternoon in a great manufacturing town and about the time kids were getting out of school.
Pence will make stops in the hardest hit areas tomorrow, both Howard and Montgomery counties. His staff confirms the governor's day will start with a trip to Kokomo in the morning. He says he'll stay in Indiana as long as he's needed to ensure all state resources that are necessary are available. Katie Hines, RTV6.
Katie, thank you. We expect the governor sometime in Howard County tomorrow, according to the mayor here of Kokomo. Of course, these storms seemed endless, one after the other. And our chief meteorologist, Kevin Gregory, was tracking them throughout the afternoon. And Kevin, can you put this in perspective for us? Because it seems like I was running in and out of the vehicle, hiding from something coming from out of the sky at every moment here in Kokomo today.
Well, certainly Kokomo and Howard County had the most unusual evening and afternoon, as you had more than one storm producing tornadoes, Rushville, Kokomo, and then southeast of Kokomo as well, Indian Heights and toward Taylor. The first tornado warnings came in just before 3 o'clock, those in Montgomery County. By the time we got to just before 4, Howard County tornadoes reported, then just after 6 o'clock up in Peru. The last warnings ended at 9:45, about a 7-hour stretch of tornado warnings. As we've told you, EF3 tornado reported in Kokomo. This is a preliminary report, but wind speeds in an EF3 can go up to 165 miles per hour. The other confirmed tornado with a preliminary report, EF2 damage just northwest of New Ross in Montgomery County. Wind speeds of up to 135, range of 111 to 135 degrees. Okay, I'm sure you're wondering, are we going to have more storms tonight? The storms that produce the tornadoes and the strongest storms are exiting now eastern Indiana, east of Winchester, pushing into Ohio. We had some redevelopment then of some pockets of heavier rain, but any severe weather threat will continue to diminish, and our forecast model in the short term not showing much in the way of overnight thunderstorms. There is a marginal or low risk if we get an isolated thunderstorm to develop. We'll talk about tomorrow and how the situation doesn't change a whole lot. We're still warm and humid with more thunderstorms. Raphael?
Kevin, thank you so much, and we appreciate everything you and Kyle Mount said today in making sure that we were all safe as you were tracking the storms. Kevin, thank you. We'll see you in just a few moments. Kokomo was not the only city in the bullseye of the storm. As you can see from more pictures of our extensive coverage, this from Skycam 6, also in HD, over Montgomery County, where several homes were damaged. Our live team coverage continues tonight with our Chance Walser. He has spent many hours tonight there in Crawfordsville, has the latest tonight at 11. Chance?
Right now we're in Lindsborg. You can see over my right shoulder some of the trees down to give you an indication of the damage that was done here. And then down the road, crews are working furiously to restore power to this area. I spoke with one woman this evening who feels like a survivor. She was in her basement as the storm blew through, destroying her house above. In Montgomery County, some were not around when the damage was done. For them, it was an emotional homecoming.
We got the friends and family. We're picking everything up. We're going to take everything to storage that we can.
Down the road, Jerry Storm was home when she got the warning.
I was scared to death. I just slammed the window and took off to the basement. And 20 seconds tops, it was over.
20 seconds is what it took to destroy her yard, her house.
That's my bedroom.
And her vehicles. When did you get this truck?
2 Saturdays. Well, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before on the 6th.
You know it's bad, one neighbor said, when parts of your house are hanging in the trees. The sheriff says damage to several properties is extensive, but thankfully no one was hurt in the storm that caught most of the county by surprise.
We knew that there was a chance for storms, but we didn't understand or didn't know the magnitude of the storms.
And we're back out live now. We're on County Road 550 East. This is Lindsborg's main drag, so to speak. Properties are a mess on both sides of the road. We understand power crews that you can see down there will be working throughout the night and have a goal to get restored to this area sometime tomorrow. Live in Montgomery County, Chance Walser, RTV6.
Chance, thank you so much. And our live coverage is just beginning. Our team is exploring several stories that are just developing right now. What saved many lives today in Kokomo? We're working on that story. And what is next for the people in Crawfordsville, Indianapolis, and here in Kokomo? Those stories coming up in just a few moments, Jason.
All right, thank you so much. Rafael Sanchez reporting there. A very long night, a very long week ahead for a lot of those homeowners impacted. A very long day for our own Kevin Gregory as well. He's been on the air essentially live live since before 3 o'clock this afternoon. And Kevin, we're essentially still not out of the woods quite yet. Some more storms popping up there.
The best thing I can say, there are no active warnings right now. The strongest storms are about ready to exit the state, Jason, to the east. You can see just to the east then of Winchester pushing into Ohio. That's the cluster of lightning there. The remaining counties along the state line with Ohio about ready to expire as far as any tornado watch is concerned. We have here some pop-up downpours that will roll through Greencastle, Stylesville, along Cloverdale and Interstate 70. That's what we expect through the overnight hours with an isolated thunderstorm. Any risk for severe weather is pushing into Ohio as far as a slight risk. There's a marginal risk we could have a strong thunderstorm in central Indiana. Damaging wind would be the main threat. Remember, some schools closed in Howard County as a result of the storm. 73 at the bus stop in Indianapolis in the morning hours. Chance for thunderstorms low in the morning. It will increase in the afternoon. Temperatures in the low 80s already at 11 a.m. A warm, sticky, steamy day, 88 for the high. We'll talk about the possibility of more thunderstorms and let you know when we break the pattern and have some dry weather in the forecast coming up.
See you back in a bit, Kevin. Still to come as well after a quick break. Our team coverage continues on the ground in Howard County, where we're checking in on families who've lost everything. The very close call one homeowner had ahead. You're watching the RTV6 News at 11.
And if you're like us, you heard the sirens going off during this morning's storm before a warning was issued. Well, meteorologist Kyle Mouse joins me now in the tracking center to explain why.
And Candace, what's important to know here is that it's each individual county, not the Weather Service, that's responsible for sounding those sirens. And you don't have to have a tornado warning for those sirens to be issued. Here are some of the reasons why they may sound those emergency sirens. A tornado warning is issued by the National Weather Service, or like we had this morning, funnel cloud or tornado reported by police, fire, or EMS. And it was a funnel cloud that IMPD said that they saw rotating around 38th and Industrial Boulevard this morning a little after 8:30. Also got a second report of that near the State Fairgrounds. So that is why they sounded those sirens. The National Weather Service had put out a statement about that storm. Also, the third reason would be reports of imminent danger for sounding those sirens. Here's a look at radar from this morning, and you can see that storm as it was moving into the eastern portion of the county, but we back it up a little bit and we get that yellow marker there in northwestern Hendricks. So it did have some brief rotation with it, and then you can see mainly a hail threat as it moved through. And of course, we saw all of the strong wind damage that came along with it. But a side note, something important to know about those sirens: they are considered outdoor warning sirens, so not the primary source of warnings that people need to be getting.
And just for everyone's knowledge, when those go off, what do we need to do?
Well, that does mean that there's a tornado possible, that there's been spotted, or at least have a warning that's been issued. So everyone needs to put that tornado safety plan into place, get to that lowest interior structure. But right now, none of those.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that update, Kyle. We appreciate it. And right now on the north side of the city, people are cleaning up after that strong storm pushed through earlier today. A tree came crashing down onto a house at 62nd and Sherman, and we spotted downed trees on power lines like this one near Kessler and Emerson. Flooding and debris have been an issue as well, causing major backups all day, all thanks to the extremely strong winds that came with the lightning and rain.
It was straight line winds. I lived in Florida when we had Hurricane Andrew, and that's what it looked like. It just looked, everything was going sideways and flew.
Washington Township canceled classes at Eastwood Middle School due to storm damage at the building, which is on 62nd between Allisonville and Binford. And like we said, that storm that passed over the north side brought heavy lightning, leading to massive power outages. At one point, more than 20,000 people were without electricity. Indianapolis Power and Light now has that number down to less than 13,000, but still has a way to go. The biggest problem area seems to be the area from Keystone West to Binford and East 56th Street north to about 71st Street. About 140 people are still taking shelter with the Red Cross in Kokomo right now after those devastating tornadoes ripped through the community. 15 to 20 people are dealing with injuries from debris, and over 1,000 structures have been damaged. And today, RTV6 joined hundreds of volunteers trying to pick up the pieces during the ongoing cleanup process.
Good afternoon. I'm Call 6 Investigates Paris LaBelle.
And I'm Mark Mullins from Good Morning Indiana and RTV6 News at noon.
And we're helping out here, the whole RTV6 team. And I'll take you around here and see. We're in the backyard of the Cedar Crest neighborhood. It's one of the areas that was hit hard, just a couple blocks over from where that Starbucks was demolished. And we've got an entire RTV6 team, about 20 people out here helping in the cleanup efforts.
We rounded up everybody and headed north to Kokomo. And what we did, we encountered the United Way folks who told us, here's what we need. We need you guys to pick up as much debris, fallen branches, tree limbs, furniture, aluminum siding, as much as possible, and move that all to the curbside so that city trucks can help remove that debris easily.
And although we've seen a lot of devastation here, we've seen a lot of smiles, a lot of volunteers, people helping out.
That's right. And those volunteers come in all ages. We've seen kids as young as 3 or 4 holding water bottles, handing out water bottles to the volunteers that have come to do some of the heavy lifting. And so everything helps. We've also seen Girl Scout troops, church groups wheeling around coolers, handing out Gatorade and lunches today.
And if you want to figure out how you can help, go to the RTV6 app. We have an entire list there. We also have that phone bank open until 6 o'clock tonight, and make sure you donate. They really do need some monetary donations out here as well.
That's right, and we also talked to Mayor Greg Goodnight earlier at Kokomo. He says that if you want to volunteer and come and do some more heavy lifting, they need volunteers not only today, not only next week, but the week after. So keep asking where you're needed.
We'll send it back to the studio.
And there is still time to help those in need. Right now, RTV6 is working for you, collecting donations to help those impacted by the violent tornadoes. Rafael Sanchez joins us live from our phone bank in Studio B. Rafael?
Candace, good afternoon. This is the RTV6 phone bank, day 2. I'm working with Chris, Craig, Daniel, and Tim. We're working for you. It's more than just a slogan here at RTV6. It is an attitude, a way of us covering the big stories and also helping you, the viewer, to become empowered and helping to find solutions to community needs. And so this phone bank is about helping all of our neighbors to the north there in Kokomo as well as in Crawfordsville in Montgomery County. And joining me right now is Marsha Inselberg with the American Red Cross. So often people say, why do you only ask for cash? Why did you stop asking for clothing and those kinds of things?
That's a very good question. We're very concerned with helping each family get what they specifically need. Every makeup in the family is different. The number of children, the number of adults, whether they're working, retired, what kind of clothing they need. So we actually do procurement cards. So those folks can go to local stores or come here to Indy and buy what they need to get back to work, back to church, back to school, do what they need immediately for their family. So we turn these dollars that you're raising today into things that the families need. And then we go on from there to help get folks their first rent. We get them pots and pans, things that they actually need to start life again.
Marsha, thank you so much. The number that you can call right now is 616-906. Welcome to our house.
Oh,
and at the RTV6 house, we value leadership, we value community service. I want to introduce you to our favorite person in the building, our general manager and vice president of RTV6, Larry Blackerby, who has a special presentation to make. And again, we want to welcome you to our house. Larry, you want to make a presentation?
I do, Marcia. On behalf of the Community Involvement Committee here at RTV6 and the Scripps Howard Community Foundation, we want to add to the totals that we've started yesterday and present you with $2,000.
Oh, we are so impressed. Thank you so much for all the effort. We appreciate it very, very much. This will be put to very good use for the folks in Kokomo who need it so desperately right now. Our many volunteers that are up there, our food that we're feeding people, the shelter that we have open, this will just go such a long way.
And Larry, everyone that comes into our building knows how much we value customer service and leadership, and this is just another extension of what we do every day here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, it is, Rafael, and I mean, it starts with Wednesday when the storm started coming in. I mean, what we do as broadcasters is serve the public, and I think what our team did and the other broadcasters in the community, we helped save lives this week with the technology that we have and the commitment with staying on the air 7 hours in a row. And now we're doing, when we saw the aftermath and the devastation, we're doing this to try to help out. So as you said, when you started this, we truly do work for you.
Larry Blackerby, thank you so much. The Vice President and General Manager of RTV6. Let's keep these phones ringing. Again, the number to call, 616-9006. Phone lines open till 6 o'clock. Let's keep Chris, Craig, Daniel, and Tim busy throughout the afternoon. And let's make sure that we help out our neighbors throughout Indiana. Candace, now back to you in Studio A.